All right, yeah, we're gonna get started here for this month's meeting. I think we've got 11 people on stage and pretty good response of people who are out there in the audience. So thank you all for joining. Hopefully we have a decent amount of people in here from all three guilds. If you haven't been to one of our monthly meetings yet, just to give you kind of the play out of how things work. Um, Typically, and as you can see from the agenda, we'll break it down into kind of general guild things and then talk about raid specific things. Um, so in this instance here, you can see we obviously have a lot of generally applicable information tonight. It's not going to be a particularly raid heavy meeting. And then at the end, as always, we'll do some Q&As for members. So if there is something that you have questions about, please just hold on to them until the end, at which point I can kind of queue out of the PowerPoint and be able uh, to respond to them as we instead of doing it piecemeal as we go. So we'll start here. First thing we're going into is leadership updates. Sumaria got promoted to preceptor almost immediately after our last guild meeting. So a lot of this stuff came out in the announcements, but may not have been highlighted. So despite the fact that I know many of you saw those announcements, I do want to still give some shout outs to people who have been promoted in the meantime. So Preceptor is the biggest jump. It is our smallest rank besides me being me. Um, but Preceptors do have their hands in a lot of things, and we're kind of going to go into that in a second. So Samaria got that bump up just after that last meeting, so congrats to you, Samaria. The departments you'll notice listed are important, and I want to take some time to kind of go into this because this is a new update. I've been mentioning it a lot in announcements. We've been talking about them, so I suspect that this isn't something that'll be a surprise to you, but just in terms of kind of formalizing how we do things and the structure that we're looking to take on, we split the guild into three separate departments. So Minari is heading up our strategic planning, Samaria is player development, and Gilly is guild operations. And I'll go into a little bit about what they do on the next slide. There are a lot of people with positions that are helping with running this guild. Right now, at last count, I think we had 25 or 2,600 members or individual characters with, I think, something like 2,300 individualized accounts across the three guilds. So we are a very large organization, and to try and keep up with that, we have a fair number of people who are helping us. So this is the organizational chart of the guild as it currently stands. And you'll see, obviously, nice tree here, family tree style, like Brennica said. Uh, so you have me up at the top. You have all the preceptors underneath. What's important to note, I do want to just kind of make a mention of, is that uh, the center portion here, this is all one rank level. So these are all professors in these two rows right here. And the only reason that there's a tier differentiation is just so that I can make a note of raid leader and assistant raid leaders. But this is all one tier of leadership here, is the professors. But this is probably a really good slide to kind of talk about how things work so you can see them. Um, so Samaria here is in charge of player development. Player development has two sides of it: the guild events, and the class coaching. Some of you have done our class coaching program in the past, and so you'll kind of be familiar with that system. Both are taking over as training coordinator. So if you're in here and you are a class leader, we're going to be kind of building out our class leadership program, connecting with you about putting on some more steady programming. Both ours been doing kind of lecturer office hours, which I think are a really positive step. Um, and so we're kind of we're for our general members who are interested in learning, if you're new to the game, new to a character or class, these are the people you can reach out to. This chart, by the way, will be posted in Discord, so you'll have access to it. And so these are the people who you would expect to respond to you inside of your class channel. But we're looking to do some programming. Bolthar is going to help put that together. So there's the coaching side of things here in player development. But then there's also the retention side, which is our events and making sure that everybody has things to do. So we want to make sure that you're all engaged. We understand that raid logging eventually will just lead to logging, and so we want to make sure that to build the community. If you're here leveling right now, there's things for you to do to get involved. And so we'll get into a little bit about the events later on, but just suffice it to say right now, these are the two spots. So also big shout out and congrats to Ace and Bolthar for their promotions to Professor, taking this on. Moving on into the rest of the tree here are our raid leads and assistant raid leads under strategic planning. So strategic planning department is raid focused. These positions are your raid leaders. So, it's obviously interesting to note, you have some raid leaders up here. So obviously this shouldn't indicate to you that Ven and Zendari are under guild operations, because they're connected here under preceptor, but Gilly is their raid leader. So a couple that's a good note on a few people who have been updated to roles recently. So we have Sindari, who just became the assistant raid lead of Raid Team 3. Raf just became the assistant raid lead of Raid Team 2. Dins just became assistant raid lead for Raid Team 1. And so congrats to all of you as well on those promotions. Really appreciate when people are willing to step up and help with the raid team administrations. Somebody did mention about Six with his anonymous pick. I did ask him to change his Discord photo. I don't know if he did, but that was by choice, not because I forgot about him. I don't want my that to be considered my omission. I'm not taking the heat on it. But so obviously strategic planning department under Minari is anything to do with that's my best, gearing, loot council, rating, looking ahead at future content, think of the BWL manual production, that kind of thing. So that's all stuff that's coming out of Minari's division here. And then moving over into Gilly, into guild operations, these are kind of keeping the wheels greased. And whatnot. So to that point, we've got Cashjet and Delsuvius, who both just got promotions, so congrats to you both as well. Delsuvius is doing some of our artwork and graphic design production. You'll notice some of the trading card looking announcements for our promotions. He's been doing a lot of those, and he'll be helping out with those as well as some event promotion type things. So we appreciate his help with that. Cashjet is taking over an administrative clerk position. He's helping keeping up with our response forms for the various forms that we've implemented. We'll go over those too in a minute. A really important point I want to make about Cashjet. His Discord name is Starpy Killa, I think his handle, something akin to that. If you haven't had a message from or to Castjet, you probably should find him and add him as a Discord friend or just send him a message, because if you're responding to something, you're not going to get messages from me generally from our forums. You'll probably be getting a response to them from Castjet. we basically have a system worked out where I'll make notations on decisions of how things in the sheets are going to work. So if you put in a requisition, for instance, I'll just actually quantify this. If you put in a requisition for something, I'm going to put in the action in the note into our sheet, and so he'll end up taking that and sending you the message with the action that we're taking, and he'll be able to field some questions on things generally. Same thing with the rate application that we'll go over. So CastJet's going to be your point person for that. And so this, I mean, we kind of did just go over this, but if you're looking for who to direct your questions to, I just, generally speaking, these are the areas. So, you can come to me for everything. Again, open door policy. There are some things that I am not the first person you should be talking to. We'll talk about that as well. But to the extent that you do need anything, as always, doors open. Preceptors, same thing. You can go to them if you have questions, if you feel more comfortable talking to them. If I'm busy and I can't help you immediately, I will caution some people who may be thinking they're incredibly clever. Um, our leadership is ridiculously communicative in and amongst themselves as well as with you all. So it would be a very bad thing to find yourself trying to uh, play that ask mom, but mom says no, so I go find dad kind of routine with us. That would be a really really unfortunate thing to do. Um, so I don't advise it. And then professors, moving on, can handle basically every one of the professors can handle all human resources type or community standards type issues. And then issues related specifically to their department. So you'll want to consult that graph if you want to know where to go. Answer shopping. Yeah, coherent. I like that. Answer shopping would be a really good way of spinning it. Yeah. The mom and dad dynamic I like too. Um, but uh, one thing we actually, funny enough, had a kind of an HR related issue last night with one of the baby guilds about the content of messaging in one of the guild chats. If you ever run into a situation in which you think our terms of community terms of, I'm not going to say terms of service, it's not really community standards are being violated, all you have to do is find a professor or preceptor or me. If you find me and I'm not available, I will ping the preceptors for you. But you have access to the player member log in Discord to see who is online. It is a very positive way of seeing whether or not it's an easy way of seeing who's available to handle an issue, or someone who can find you somebody who can handle the issue. So just keep that in mind. But then again, back to the kind of divisions and what people handle. Again, strategic planning, TMB and rating, player development, class coaching or events, and guild operations or requisitions and applications. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for somebody to talk to. Chances are, if you message me and I'm not the best person to talk to, I will just tell you who to talk to. Somebody messaged me today a question about TMB. They got sent right to Minari. Sometimes will be your raid leader. So again, never feel like you can't ask a question. Just don't be offended if I don't answer it and send you to somebody else who can. And we'll move on though into our next section, which is our biggest ass award. Um, yeah, Sumaria makes a really, really great point. I probably should have put in about our community standards, but yeah, general just being a shitty human will not leave you in the guild particularly long. Um, and and so those are pretty easy rules to follow. We're not particularly strict. We all have very good senses of humor, I think. Um, but few topics are off limits. Politics generally are banned in the guild in guild chats. And then obviously, as Sumari mentioned, anything racist, sexist, or promoting sexual assault are insta kicks. So be mindful of those things, because we don't have an appeal process for those. That's a summary G kick. Very reasonable. I think everyone should be able to handle that. on a happier note, we have a new biggest ass award. Okay. Uh, and so we are going to move into hopefully they're here. I haven't checked the the actual member count on the meeting hall, but hopefully they're here. But this month's award recipient of the Biggest Ass Award is Pagani. So congrats to Pagani. We appreciate everything that you do for the guild. Really active. Obviously, some of you may know Pagani as Nivea, and having served on two raid teams, is incredibly involved, always willing to help out with many things around the guild, responds to questions, active in class channels. So really, really big support to the guild, and we just want to recognize you for a second and say thank you very much. We did have two runners up this month. Know that your submissions carry on to next month, so you're still in for consideration. Your efforts too are much appreciated, but for the month of April to May, Pagani, it's you. So congratulations and thank you again for everything. Um, a couple I did one new thing this month that our nominees might not have liked. They might have liked, I don't know. But I wanted to kind of add a little bit more substance to this section of our meeting. So I added a little bit of a question and answer in evaluating who we're going to give this honor. First question I asked was, what it means to be a member of the Adept Scholar Society for the for Pagani. Said being a member of Adept Scholar Society has provided the opportunity to fully immerse myself in the rich world of Warcraft once again. This guild has not only opened doors for me to explore and experience aspects of the game that were once out of reach to me 20 years ago, but it has also introduced me to a supportive and vibrant community. I've learned a great deal from others at the same time, had the privilege of helping some of the newer players along their journey. Watching them grow and taking down raid bosses together has been a very enjoyable and rewarding experience. So that was nice to hear. And then favorite memory in the guild. I liked this one. Favorite memory was running Ubers for Briarwood Reed with so many of you. I can only imagine how many groups this must have included here. But I did particularly like the point made. It wasn't just about getting the trinket. It was the sense of unity and shared purpose that made the experience so memorable. We support each other throughout those runs and celebrated every trinket drop, well over a dozen, creating a bond that made the journey all the more rewarding. I thought that was very nice. To those of you who don't have Briarwood Reed, I'm sorry, but I'm sure that Sumaria and Pagani would be willing to help put together some more Ubers runs for you. And we're gonna move on from this, but just a recognition again for Samius and his award last month. And we have updated the wall of ass to reflect our three recipients to date. So Hercule, Samius, and Pagani. So congrats, Pagani, and thanks again, Samius and Herc, for your past awards. And we'll move on to some guild successes generally here, which is very exciting. So since we last met, we had the BWL launch, which was fantastic. So start off with what I think was one of the, if not the biggest achievements I could have imagined going into this. We had two Thunder Furies in the guild, raid teams 1 and 3, before the end of the first lockout, bearing in mind that that was Thursday to Tuesday, not Tuesday to Tuesday. So shortened time period, two Thunder Furies in hand for Ven and Bolthar. So that was really exciting to see that come together. And to have both of those main tanks on those two teams to get that item, which I know each of them's been chasing for a really long time. We obviously take this moment in recognition of Rick and Hercule, and their desire to see those items one day as well. But Binding Drops have not been cooperating with our even teams as much as our odd teams. So just know that we're all hoping for your Binding Drops as well.
It's okay, I'm patient.
That's fine. That's good. And so obviously, what follows upon that is all four raid teams clearing 8 out of 8. I would say, obviously the times are different across teams, but everyone's got the content on farm now. I think most teams are one night clearing BWL. I think raid team 4 has been doing it split nights just because they're starting with Oni and MC still on Tuesdays, but making it through half of BWL this week I saw. So did Oni MC and then half of BWL this week, so that's huge. I know Raid Team 3 has been doing Anixia BWL and then heading into MC as well. That's big. I know us in RT1 been doing the had two trifectas. Added a little bit of time on at the end of our first raid night, but have managed to get two trifectas done, getting full clears of all three dungeons. And Raid Team 2's been going strong. 8 out of 8 BWL one night, and still making excellent progress. I know been some turnover in that team. I know Raid Team 4 is a newer team, so still trying to get the gear. But all of the teams are really doing incredible work. One of the things I want to just say from all of us in the leadership, I kind of want to recognize, the 160 of you that are rating here with us regularly, and just, mention it's really impressive to see four raid teams that are all on the same tier. Essentially, we kill things in different orders, we kill things in different speed, but every single team is dropping the exact same number of bosses every single week. So it's really exciting to see, there's not one team getting left behind and missing out on loot. Everyone's getting the clears across all 160 of us. It's really, really great to see. So, pat yourself on the back if you're part of the raid team. If you're not part of the raid team, but will be someday, it's something to look forward to. But it's been an incredibly successful first month into BWL, and so great job to all of you. If this is any indication of what things will look like as we move on into AQ40, I know we have a lot of success ahead, and that and next and TBC and beyond. Because keep in mind, as long as they'll advance this server, we're gonna keep this going. The I have a hard stop at Miss Pandaria. I will play through Cataclysm. I promise. Um, but absent any extenuating circumstances, you have me until then. So hopefully the servers keep moving along and we can keep this moving too. And hopefully you'll be with us for it. Couple notes on Discord. Couple Discord changes. Um, First off, I have this in every single meeting. I will continue to have it in every single meeting. Some people are missing channels in Discord that they should otherwise have. If you think this might be you, if you've never done this process, please do it. Please try and do it weekly. I can't tell you how important it is that you have access to the information you're supposed to have access to. So, again, all you do, click channel roles, click browse channels, and click follow on all the categories. Every single time I post this, I have somebody go, oh crap, I was missing 6 channels that I didn't know existed. So, please, make this part of like your daily or weekly ritual of restarting Discord and opening it and checking these channels. I add things very frequently, change things around, all of that happens, and sometimes you're going to miss out on it. It is no rhyme or reason. It's because we're a community Discord, because we're this size, we have to be a community Discord. But because of that, the downside is that it does not automatically add and format your channels for some reason. It's stupid. Hopefully they fix it someday. In the meantime, this is the process that you have to do to make sure you're keeping up with all the information. Um, the other thing that I've started is to expand our server guide. So you'll notice now I've been directing people to the server guide for a lot of things. If you're in guild chat, if you're asking a question, you might have gotten that from me already. But we're trying to add kind of one-stop shopping locations for information. Guild's been around now. It's day one guild. We've been running since the end of November. I have a lot of legacy information that people need to know. So to the extent that I'm trying to make it accessible, here is where it should end up. So we have the rules and ranks page that's been our welcome page about community standards and how the rank system works in guild. So this one explains um, this one explains how you can get promoted in the guild, the time that you have to be in here to make certain ranks, what certain ranks are responsible for. Raid rules and requirements talk about raid times, raid requirements, the dues, add-ons required. One important thing to talk about, and I'll get to this a little bit more in a second, is raid rules has all of our apps in that page. So our raid application, we have a new single general raid application. There's no longer a raid team application. So, we originally had started out with a raid team 1 and 2 application. We did a raid team 3 application, a raid team 4 application. No longer. So, even as we expanded teams, we are looking to start raid team 5. We'll talk about that too in a minute. Regardless, if you're looking to raid, you have to fill out the raid application. It's on the raid rules and requirement. It's also in links, apps, and resources because it's an app. Um, the links, apps, and resources have just kind of generalized things on there. In fact, all of the information on this slide appears in the links, apps, and resources page. So what is on there and what is new? So we have the new raid application. We have the links to the Guild YouTube, which include links to both monthly meetings from February and March. Those were our first two guild-wide meetings. This will be posted on YouTube. That link will be provided in there as well. The TMB upgrades and 60 upgrades links, as well as the YouTube guide of how to set them up and how to do your wish list for phase 3 and 4 are up there and listed. The master raid roster, if you're interested in who's on what team, or I don't know, it's there. You can look at it. I have no idea what necessarily would draw you to it, but if you're curious, there you go. The crafting catalog is a really important one. So if you need something created, if you need an enchant done, if you need a potion, we have a professions channel where our people who have max professions um, submit their patterns that they have, so you know who to message directly to try and get access to them. Just a plug, if you do have a profession and you see something that you've gotten and you're trying to uh, and you're if you see something that's missing that should be there on your list, please just post in the professions channel an update. One really easy way people with professions to update the sheet or to submit a new profession, if you simply make a copy of the catalog. So obviously you can't edit the catalog, but if you make a copy of the catalog, and if you're already on there, simply check the boxes of what you have, take a screenshot of it, and send it in the professions channel. Or if you're not listed in there as your profession, just delete the name of whoever's there, add your name, and check the boxes to match what patterns or recipes, whatever it may be, that you do have. And again, screenshot and post it in the professions channel. That crafting catalog was put together by Minari. It encompasses not everything, but what we think is probably the most frequent things that people would need, the most important things for endgame content. But again, that's where you should be looking if you need that. The Society BWL manual. So I just mentioned this couple of bench players in Raid Team 1 last night. If you've been on a raid team, you should have already had this document sent to you and reviewed it. But if you're looking to bench with us in BWL, if you're going to start raiding with us on Raid Team 5, if you're thinking you might raid, but you don't know, that manual is a really good thing to look at. It also has links to all of our videos that you can watch and guides. The biggest ass nomination form is up there. So I mentioned we had a few people who were being considered. They were all this month nominated from members of the guild. So if you have somebody you think deserves to be the biggest ass next month, it is important that you tell me that. So you go in and you fill out a nomination form. It's very short. You simply put in your name, their name, and note about why you think they deserve that award. From that list of nominees, I pick 3 finalists. The 3 finalists submit to me the picture and the 2 prompts, and then preceptors select based on that. A note, and they'll probably all be very upset for hearing this, but professors and up are not eligible for the Biggest Ass Award. So it's one of the downsides of your service to the greater good is that they are not eligible for that. So I do apologize to those of you who aren't eligible, but everybody else, lecturers included, are able to get the Biggest Ass Award. And then the guild org chart that I just posted a little while ago, that will also be available on the server guide under the resources page. I don't have that up yet. It won't be up tonight. It will be up by tomorrow night. I can commit to that. Akatsuki asks, what if you get nominated and chosen but don't want to be the biggest ass? Um, get over it. That's the only thing I can say. It'd be a very odd situation, but I don't have anything else to say than that. There is no parade in which you would have to officiate, so you'll be fine doing this against your will. Yeah, Ophel's picking up on my slogan. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I'm very strict. All right, so this is a little bit more on the 2 forms that we have put out. So the rate application form. If you have filled out a rate application in the past, again, if you were applying to be on rate teams 1 through 4, you would have filled out a different rate application. A couple people have asked me, do I need to fill out a new raid application? If you filled out a raid team 1 through 4 application, the answer is yes. I need you. I apologize. It's almost the same thing, so you can copy and paste responses if you still have them, or just simply rewrite exactly what you wrote before. But please do refill out this raid application. It will be the last raid application, the only one you'll ever have to do again. We'll keep everything on file from here on in. But if you haven't filled out a form that looks exactly like this one here on the left-hand side of your screen right now, you do need to fill out this rate application to be considered on the team. Okay? It's a pretty short rate application. I think most people take 10 minutes or less. You can put in more or less. If you're on a team currently, I see Underhanded, I see your question about filling one out. You're on raid team 1, you're already good to go. If you get recruited direct onto a team, you don't need to fill out an application. But if you're joining the guild, if you're moving up in the rank, if you're moving up in the ranks, coming from adorable or aspiring into adept, you should fill this out. The other point I want to mention is if you are coming up from adorable or aspiring, once you are in adept, okay, the second you've started in the main guild, in the raiding guild, please fill this out. Do not feel like you need to wait until you're level 60 to fill out a raid application. It is more important for us to know those who are intending on raiding than it is for us to only get responses from those who are level 60. Coherent mentions and makes a really good point. You can zone into MC at 58. You can actually zone in earlier. I think you can go in at 55, which is when you can complete the attunement quest. So you can get in a lot sooner than that, even. I think we've taken a level 56 Warlock into MC just for the banish early on. So um, please don't feel like waiting until 60 is the right answer. It is, in fact, the wrong answer. Fill it out when you're in the main guild. Don't do it when you're 48. But once you're 50, once you're in the moved up into Adept Scholar Society, please fill out that application. Okay. If you want, Stones mentions about attunements. If you're updating attunements, don't fill out a duplicate form. You can, when we reach out about your rating opportunities, we will ask you about your attunements. So if you're not attuned when you're filling out the application, simply state that. Don't feel like every time you get an attunement one by one that you need to send in a new application. That's not necessary. So don't worry about that. The right-hand form here is a requisition form. I have two things I want to note. Number one, if you're on raid teams 1 through 4 and you're interested in receiving either a Corehound belt or a Flare Core leggings, you have to fill out this requisition form just stating that fact. Indicate your team and that you want that item. That's it. But I need to know how many of these roughly the guild is looking to craft. We have the first 5 Corehound belts. Those are going to be sent out and distributed hopefully before this weekend, if not this weekend. Your loot councils will have them. They'll determine who they're going to go to, and we're going to basically round robin. So I'm going to do a Corehound belt for every team for the first one, then a Flare Core legging for everyone, then back to the Corehound belt, and we're just going to go where the demand is. So if you're looking for those items because they're, a best in slot for you, just simply fill out this requisition. If you've already done it, don't do it again because the requisition form carries over. So if you've already done that, don't do it again. But if you haven't and you want one of those 2 items, please fill out this requisition form. The only other thing I'm going to note, if you're requesting something from the guild bank, you're going to notice the bottom right hand side here. Okay, this is the proper way of formatting the section where it says please list what you want in the following format. The following format is the item that you want, the bank character that it's located on, the number of the item you want, and the purpose of the item. If you do not have it filled out like this, I will summarily deny your requisition with a notation about it. Another thing, really bad idea, would be, for instance, to mention that you wanted to craft an item, but say you put in 6 fiery core and 8 lava core. I'm going to check the pattern for this item and send you what's there, or I'm going to just deny your requisition and be a little skeptical that you weren't maybe trying to grab an extra core just because they're 100 gold on the AH. I wouldn't accuse anybody of that, but don't put that into my mind. Don't make me wonder. If nothing else, it just makes me think you might have been too lazy to actually have looked up the pattern. Which isn't great, but it's better than the alternative assumption. So if you're filling this out, fill it out efficiently, fill it out clearly, fill it out completely, and fill it out accurately. Um, it's a very short form though. It's your name, your Discord handle, what team are you on, and what do you want. And then there's one extra section for notes if you have anything more that you want to say. So this is it for the 2 forms that I have to say. Um, Now we're getting into the events. This is the fun stuff. Okay. Um, we had this past Saturday the first naked gnome race. Um, and frankly, I think this was fantastic. I really enjoyed running along. Gal and Greta did great jobs as play callers on that night. Um, I I think that the route was particularly challenging. I know some people didn't get to finish because of that, but it was a really fun time. If you didn't get to see it, I really recommend watching the YouTube video for it so that you can kind of get an experience of what that was like. We'll probably do these events um, I think in every 2 months or so, we're planning on doing the Naked Gnome race itself. But obviously, big congrats to Sundari, who ran under the gnome name Speedy Sin. Um, so that was huge. I believe our best name, Raf, was that you that got best name?
It was.
Yeah, so Raf won the best name for his gnome Frostitute. And so he came in with the secondary prize for best gnome name. I thought it was great to have Scholar Society Racing Guild names going through, so we now have technically a fourth guild, but it doesn't really count. You can't hold it against me. Everyone always gives me. I can just imagine the side eye about creating new guilds now that we're up to three. So this one doesn't count against my guild count. I'm allowed up to five.
I will say that aside from the hilarious commentary during the race, it was also funny seeing all the people having very confused things to say in like general chat in each region about what was going on.
Oh yeah, we drew a crowd at some points. We had people coming in. Popo asked, "What's the third guild?" So we now have Adept Scholar Society at 900 members, Aspiring Scholar Society at 1,000 members, and Adorable Scholar Society around 700 members. So those are the three guilds that we're currently running, and we see we have some adorable members around with us now. So welcome. It is new, but it is mighty. Um, and so we get some aspiring as well. And I know we have some aspiring alumni who are now an adept, and so really excited to see that. These leveling guilds have been a tremendous success, and thank you to those who help monitor, who help to administer, and to those of you who participate. It's been pretty rewarding to see those guilds come alive, develop their own personality, and then ultimately see all of you end up in the big guild and start raiding. But we have more events. It's not just the Naked Gnome race. We're looking to do about an event a week. So, what's the schedule? The schedule is this. On the first Friday of the month, it will be at 7 p.m. The second Saturday, it'll be at 7 p.m. The third Saturday at 1 p.m. That's this Saturday. We'll get into that in a second. And the fourth Sunday at 6 p.m. We're varying the times and the days to allow for greater participation from a wider range of people. We know you won't all be able to make every event. That's fine. They're not required. We recommend them. They're going to be fun. The party planning committee is going to put a lot of effort into these and has already put a lot of effort into these. But to the extent that you're around and able, you should drop in. They're all set up and will all be timed to make sure that if you have a raid that night, you will be able to participate in the raid. So I'm talking specifically about the first Friday and second Saturday, where those are at 7 p.m. We will never put an event on that is more than 2 hours. So whether you're a raider in raid team 2 or a raider in raid team 3, you'll be able to participate in all of those events as well. They will not cut into your raid time regardless. We started the Naked Gnome run at 7 p.m. last week, and we're finished with time to spare. I think everyone got a little over a half an hour break. Might have been even more. I can't quite remember. Before they started their raid that night. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to participate at all in all of them, but do recommend it because a lot of work will be going into them. But what is tomorrow this Saturday? So this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's 11 a.m. server time. Um, we're doing Minigame Mania. So we're going to do three mini games that'll be run by our party planning committee. It'll be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, and so our three games that we're going to be playing are Trash Gambling, which will give you all a large stack of a worthless item. The item will be kept secret so nobody can rig the game. We will death roll bet on the useless item. So to those who like Cosmic have become addicted to death rolling, you'll be death rolling with a non-bannable material like a trash item. So that's going to be the first of the mini games. The second one's going to be a Simon Says, typical Simon Says rules, nothing special there. And then the third one's going to be a relay race where we'll give you a unique item for each team. We'll set you up in a race route, and you'll have to trade the item to and among every person and try and make it from one part to the next. And then ultimately, whoever trades the item with the finish line character wins. We'll do prizes. It's going to be fun. Sit back, shoot the shit, drink if you'd like, drink if you're old enough, and and we'll enjoy this Saturday's mini games. The big event coming up that I want to flag, because there are some preparations that you'll need to undertake if you're looking to participate, um, is the level 19 dueling bracket tournament that is coming up on May 2nd. Okay, so on May 2nd, that's the first Friday of May. So it's at 7 p.m. on that Friday. We are going to have a level 19 dueling bracket. Uh, the location is going to be outside of Ironforge. And what will happen is you will just have a dueling bracket amongst level 19 characters. The only restrictions that we're going to impose are white gear only. So you cannot bring greens, no enchantments. That's going to be another big one. I'll allow consumables, first aid, that's no problem, but there will be no enchanting gear. There will be no greens or blue gear allowed. So you can use anything you want for white gear uh, and consumables and personal buffs. The reason we're doing that is because we do not want this to be a competition in who can sweat harder and grind out like actual twinks. That's not what this is about. World buffs are allowed, so if you want to grab a Nixia buff, that's perfectly fine. Um, those of you who do have twinks, I see there's a lot of people things there. Um, you know, keep in mind uh, this is a skills test here, so if you have experience on a 19, okay, you can still utilize that, although you'll just need to level up a new character really quickly. But you've got two 2 weeks from now to level a 19 character, and I think Popo picks up on a really good point, which is exactly the reason why we're doing white gear and no enchants, which is it's fair to those who don't have a main yet or don't have a max level main. Keep in mind, these events we're trying to make inclusive so that aspiring and adorable members can participate, and in order to make that happen, we have to set certain standards. Keep in mind, we are going to do a 60 bracket, and we may even do a standard Twink bracket at another event. Or if time allows, we might have people log on to Twinks if they have them and let them duel out in front of everybody anyways. Um, but please, if you're interested in this, I'll put a sign up shortly, probably by this weekend. Yeah, wands are fine, Vane. So as long as, well, yeah, I guess I'll probably, you make a good point. I'm gonna allow wands, but I'm gonna restrict the wand to the enchanting wand that's craftable at that level. So I'll actually make a specific point to circle back about wands and list the one that will be allowed. Um, I might even just set up some some individual items that we can craft for low levels and just trade classes that gear. That might actually make it a little easier. So suffice it to say, don't worry about the details specifically for the event, but if you're interested in the dueling for 19 brackets, just simply flag that date, flag the time, and wait for some announcements and start leveling your characters, uh, whatever class you want, whatever race. They have to be alliance, and you have to make sure that you're out in front of Ironforge that time, um, so that we can do the event that night. But those are the only requirements. So um, please just flag that event because I know people need time to level. So if you're interested in participating, start leveling that. Now we're moving into the rating side of things. Couple rating short, so we're basically through the meeting at this point. We got like two more points to go through, and they should go pretty quickly. The so we are looking to start Raid Team 5. Raid Team 5 is actually going to mirror Raid Team 1 times. So they'll be running Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll actually have 3 teams running concurrently on Tuesdays, which I think will be pretty cool. But if you're interested, excuse me, a little bit of a yawn. Anyways, if you're interested in Tuesday, Wednesday team that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, invites are at 8:45, obviously, as per every single team. Please fill out that raid application. Raid Team 6 will not follow any of the schedules that are currently there, so if it doesn't fit for you, don't worry. Another team will be on the way. We are trying to stagger things out. 6 is the cap, so I will not go beyond 6. And Bolthar is sitting in his chair shaking his head because I also have said I won't go beyond 4. But here's the difference. Gretter told me one day, wouldn't it be cool if we had a 6-pack of raid teams? And I said, you know what? Yes, it would. Challenge accepted. And so here we are. Anyways, we're going to do Raid Team 5, and then we'll add Zeri Team 6 at some time in the future. We're going to make sure we have managed growth. We're going to make sure we have managed growth. We're not going to rush into this without members to support it. But just keep that in mind. If schedules aren't fitting, if you're not getting as much opportunity to raid as you'd like, more opportunities will be coming available, especially with another team. Every team has raid callouts every single week, so there are always opportunities to get involved. And so we just want to flag that stuff's coming up. Raid add-ons, I'll just mention this again. This information is all available on the raid rules page, so just to flag this, the only thing I'm going to say is some people don't have them. I don't know why, I don't know how, but if you don't have them, get them. You are required to have these 4 add-ons at every single raid enabled and functioning. So please get them. Now we're on to the less fun part, but I'm going to have to address a couple of things. We have had a tremendous number of players in the last week that are buying gold and being banned, or are engaging in conduct in PvP that may be causing a ban. So I'm flagging these issues. Number 1, please don't feel targeted if you have bought gold and been banned. This is not directing everybody and anybody. This is a cautionary tale. One thing you may have heard me say before is I do not believe it is my job to police Blizzard's terms of service. So you are not going to get punished for having bought gold and been banned. Frankly, if it happens more than once, we may not be able to carry you on a raid team as a consequence because of the attendance issue. But you are not going to get kicked out of the guild. It's not anything that's going to impact your status with us. It's unfortunate, but that's just, I don't think it's my job to police Blizzard's terms of service. I do want to challenge you, though, to really question whether or not buying gold is actually worth it in this guild, especially for our raiders who are doing it. One of the things I've stressed about this guild is we are not a hardcore guild. We are not a sweaty guild. We have put a lot of time and effort in trying to make sure we have only those requirements to raid that are actually necessary to ensure we have good and efficient progress. And so what that means is the only 2 things you're required to show up for raid with are a Nixia buff and a food buff. It's not expensive to buy food, and a Nixia buff is free and frequent. we also don't gear check. We do check that people are grinding, their pre-raid bits to the extent that they need to participate. But there's not a gear check per se if there's some BOE that you can't afford. There's no flask requirement or consumables requirement. And so if you're just buying gold because, as Edible points out, hopefully sarcastically, that you're just concerned about your parse, it's frankly, you're letting down for your own ego the people in your raid team by not being there. It is more important to our progression and our success to see each of the people in there every week and participating. If you have to buy gold to purple parse, frankly, you shouldn't be particularly proud of your parse. Okay? But Gilly makes a really good point that your parse is trash the weeks you're not there. So, stop buying gold. You don't need to. If you need help with consumables, ask for help. If you need ideas on how to participate in getting buffs, I know Bolthar's trying to get people on the Ren buff train. Um, there are a lot of ways to do it, and to do it without buying gold. Ask for help. Talk to your class leads, okay? The other thing is, in AV, please be careful. Frankly, I think it's silly that they're doing this ban wave, but a lot of people have just gotten hit with this about what you're doing in AV. Go sit on Noob Hill at the bottom. Don't go AFK and just grind. I know our rank 14 people, have been sitting in these AVs day in and day out. So, um, just be careful. Practice safe BGs. And this shouldn't be a problem. But for those who are hanging back, who are camping, and who could be doing anything that might be considered griefing in an AV that goes outside current AV meta, um, just be cautious that these bans are going out. They are 2 weeks, which is insane, with very little guidance on what exactly qualifies for this. So just be mindful of that. Go off on people in AVs. It's first off, it's silly anyways, but notwithstanding that fact, you're just putting a target on your own back to get targeted. I think it was Night Slayer people have been uh, going after some members, um, from Dream Scythe just on principle, which is again stupid, and I don't know why Blizzard's not adjusting for that, but it is happening. So stop buying gold because you will get banned. You're not the exception. You will be the rule. And it's really affecting our raid teams when a lot of people are doing this. It's not worthwhile. If you need help, reach out for help. There are other options available to you. And again, just be careful in AV. This one, I really don't know what else to say. It's stupid that they're doing this right now, but to the extent that you can perhaps do something to help yourself, try and follow those tips and tricks that we just went over. The last portion of this meeting is about Loot Council etiquette. So this applies to those who are in our raid team and who may be finding themselves on a raid team. Again, I'm going to preface this by saying this is not targeted at anybody in particular, and the reason why I'm doing this is because we've had a couple issues come up. If something in here sounds familiar, I want to say two things. Number one, I am not holding a grudge over it. And the second is thank you for providing a really great learning opportunity for everybody else in the guild right now. But we have had a few situations come up which we want to take a minute to address, in which raiders have not been appropriately dealing with their loot council. And so I think it's really important that we figure out a couple of constructive ways to go about this. And so as this says, we're going to play a fun yet rhetorical game. of instead of try. Um, and so, for instance, instead of I demand an investigation immediately, try, hey, do you mind if I ask you a question about loot distribution? Um, Instead of the loot just going out and saying we need to talk right now, try waiting for the next morning, maybe getting a little more perspective and saying, if you have a chance, could we meet to discuss a few questions about loot? Again, these are some direct quotes and some modified scenarios. Instead of "I deserve that piece more than they do, so explain yourself," we could try, "Could you tell me a few things I could do to improve my loot chances?" Instead of "That makes no sense, what were you thinking?" we could try, "If you don't mind, could you just give me some insights into how the decision on this particular item was made?" Instead of "It's obvious I won't be getting loot here" and leaving, you could perhaps try some internal recognition that new or bench players may not get first priority on multi-phase BIS items. Instead of direct messaging me immediately and suggesting that your raid leader is corrupt, you could try messaging your raid leader and saying, "Hey, could we talk about loot for a second?" Instead of X player should have gotten that piece, why would you give it to Y player? You could try simply minding your own business. Um, so, again, some of these are literal things that have happened. Some of them are modifications on circumstances, but the lesson here is simple. Your loot council goes out of their way every single week to take a half an hour to an hour to review the logs, review the loot logs, and discuss priorities for these teams. They put in a tremendous amount of effort to ensure that their decisions are informed and helpful to keeping your team moving in the correct direction. Have a little grace and understanding for the fact that they are doing their best and that they are doing a job that most of you don't want to do. Okay? I think that the best thing that happened in this point, um, Raf just recently got promoted to assistant raid lead, and he had actually had a loot council issue where he was concerned. I want to bring him
You
in.
just
You
broke
here,
up there,
Raf?
Faithful.
Oh, okay. Raf, are you still there?
I am here.
Yeah, so I'm going to give Raf a second because I think it's really important that you kind of get a perspective of someone who's been a long-time raider, who's been on the outside, and who's now kind of come onto the inside and seen the operational side of things, just to kind of give his perspective so you can all have a little appreciation about it.
All right, first I want to say that I'd never been in a guild that did loot cancel, so I was a little bit worried about it from the start. You know, when I got into this guild, up until the time I became a raid lead, so or assistant raid lead, and I had opportunities, and I did take opportunities to ask questions about it, and I was still a little apprehensive about it. We all seen the four rules that we put that McFaithful put out for loot distribution, what the loot council's considering, and everything. And that's really all I knew. You know, other than that, I saw the people go into Professor Chat or Loot Cancel Chat, and then the loot magically got distributed to us, usually within 30 minutes. Now, on the flip side of that, when I became an assistant relay lead and started participating in that, uh, let me tell you, I was really, really surprised on the amount of work that these people put into it. When he said they put an hour in a week, that I don't know, maybe his team puts an hour in a week, but most of the teams are putting at least 3 hours in once, maybe twice a week. After each raid, we all get together 1 or 2 days after each raid. to adjust on who's there, who's not there. We're looking at participation. We're looking at who's received the loot. We're looking at item levels. We're looking at how much loot you've gotten since you've got there, when you got there, your attendance. We're looking at all that stuff and trying to organize the priority for the loot, all that stuff. Uh, we're also taking in consideration, of course, those 4 rules that McFaithful put out first, with like who's participating the most, who's active in the guild, what that loot's going to do, or where it's going to be best served within the group. We're looking at all those things and considering all of those things all the time. And it is a lot of work. I had no idea. So there's a couple takeaways. I'm going to try to make this short because I am long-winded. So a couple takeaways is it is a ton of work, and I had no clue how much work that your raid leads actually put into it, but it is a lot of documents, a lot of reading. Right now, I got placed, taken over just one of those documents that we do, and I put an hour into that document every time I get on to the game, and then like a few hours after every raid. It's a lot of work. And the other 2 raid leads do more than I do. So, and the other thing I want to leave with you guys is this. Um, uh, I know we play around with our raid leads when they get a piece of loot and we give them shit for it, right? We call them names or whatever. It's funny as hell. And trust me, they're laughing too. But at the same time, I want to let you know that my experience being with them in that meeting is none of them want to take loot from you. Not a single one has ever said, that's my piece. I want it. That's the one I'm holding out for. None of that has ever been said in a loot council that I've been part of. And they get joy out of giving you loot. All right, they do. They really do. They look forward to looting you out, and we all comment on it. We all talk about it, and we're excited for you. And I didn't realize how fun that was going to be for me. So I'm really enjoying it as well. I also wanted to say that the only time that one of our raid leads has ever gotten loot in our loot cancel, I can't speak to all the loot cancels, but the only time in our loot cancel has been when the other raid leaders have said, no, that item is best on you. You're going to take it. They're trying to give away loot. So they are there for you. It is a ton of work. I promise you, they are being as fair as they possibly can be. And and you got to understand they're doing all of these things and trying to do it in a timely manner. So nobody's perfect. Mistakes might be made, but if they're made, please bring it up to us. We'll try to do our best to correct it. But
Yeah. And
they're
and that
trying to do
right
it within
there
30 minutes.
and that right there, Raph, is a point I want to pick up on because that's what I'm trying to get at with these instead of try. Um, it, it's a little tongue in cheek, obviously, but the the message that you should take from this is simply this: if you approach your raid leadership, if you approach your loot council with respect, with an open mind, with a question rather than an accusation, you will get a response. You'll get a measured response. You'll get a quick response oftentimes, and you'll be able to understand why something was done. If you have a question, you can ask. But the way you go about asking that question is far more important than the actual question you have to ask. So, if you're concerned about loot, if you don't think you're getting your fair share, if you don't think something was given out correctly, take a second and cool off. Take a second and try and gain some perspective. And whenever you do have to approach somebody about an issue that you think warrants a discussion, do so with some respect, some kindness, and some grace for people who are putting in hours of their week to make sure that our loot's done in a professional, efficient manner. I can't tell you how happy I am to be in a position where I get to work alongside of these professors and preceptors in putting together this guild. I really am proud of each of them and the work they do, but they'll be the first ones to tell you that I hold them all accountable for those 4 loot pillars that I put out in their first meeting that I will mention in every loot council discussion. I will drill it into them and I will hold them accountable for it. And they get questions from me straight up when I'm reviewing loot logs about why a piece was given out and asking for some explanations. But the answers are always there. Every one of our loot councils has justification for why things are done. If you are interested in why it's done, all you need to do is ask respectfully. That's the bottom line for this section. But we've had a few too many issues, and in a short period of time, that I just thought it was worth flagging this for our raiders and our raiders to be, because it's something that I think is really important in showing a basic amount of respect and grace to those who are doing work for your own benefit. So take that for what it is. Try and be better. If this quote was you, if you hear yourself in one of these, even if it wasn't point on, again, no one's holding a grudge. No one's coming after you. We can forgive mistakes as long as we grow from them. Do better, and everything will be fine. Repeat offenders, we're going to have some problems, especially after everyone's on notice of this meeting. So keep that in mind. If you're upset about loot, cool yourself off before you start talking to somebody about it. That's everything I have for tonight. I know we went a little over on time. Thankfully, Raid Team 1 had wrapped up everything, so that's part of the reason why I got to do a little bit longer of a meeting. But I will say now is the time of the night where I can ask if anybody has questions that they would like to bring up generally. So the way that this works is if you do have a question, all you need to do is request to speak. I will make you come on stage with everybody here, but you just need to do the request to speak option in the meeting. It's on the bottom of your screen. It should be a request to speak button there. And I know we covered a lot. There's a lot there. So if you have questions on anything, I'll stand by for a second. If I don't see anything, we can end the meeting here. But to the extent anybody may have some questions, comments, concerns, feel free to just do the request to speak button, and one of the moderators will bring you up here, or put it in the chat. I'll monitor chat if anyone has a question that they'd like to put up. Xerox, we want to bring you up. All right, Xerox just requested. Looks like you're up here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really have a question, but I just want to thank you all for all of this. It's truly a privilege to do this one last time, and especially to our leadership team. I know this is a second job, and I just really wanted to come out here and say thank you all.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Really do. Um, and thank you to all seconding in chat. So we appreciate that very much. Flanig, Kiki, I'll bring you up here now. Just ask you, give me 1 second. I'm gonna just respond to Flan about earlier raid start times. I do think, and I had mentioned, I think probably cryptically, thinking of it now, that we were looking to do Raid Team 6 with a different schedule. It will likely be an earlier schedule. I don't know what days, and I can't commit exactly on the times, but I do know that the 9 to midnight Eastern, or 9:30 to 12:30 Eastern in the case of Raid Team 3, does tax some of our earlier risers, so I do want to be responsive to that. So yeah, Raid Team 6 would be my answer. Stay tuned is the best I can do right now. But yes, it is on our um, it is on our calendar. Kikyo, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. I guess I just wanted to, you know, thank you for the work that you guys put in, and also the fact that I don't always see everything because I'm, not an officer, but I do see the responsiveness. Something came up the other night that clearly had to do with the conduct in one of the alt guilds, and I do recognize that, and I think that's a really important part on this community and why this guild's so successful is trying to make sure that it's as harmonized as best as possible. I think it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. I know the first guild meeting you went over the loot etiquette, and I do thank you for taking the time to do that. I think one of the things is like loot's always going to be an ongoing, struggle. Is there somewhere on the Discord page or like a resource where we can almost like an FAQ where people can go back if they have questions about how loot's determined or why decisions get made? Because I'll tell you, I don't even recall what the order was.
Yeah, we
But
don't have an
you want me to get
FAQ.
this one?
Well, it's just
You want me?
yeah. You know what? Hold on, I'll tee you up there, Gilly. Um, so two-part question. I'll let Gilly perform a little for it. But the first part, as far as the FAQ, that's in the works. So the answer is there isn't yet. There will be, and I kind of alluded to this again. There's a lot of information, a lot of legacy information that newer members may not have access to. So one of the pages that will be up on the server guide shortly will be an FAQ page that'll have information like that. In the meantime, for those of you who may not remember, there are 4 pillars of loot distribution. They are ranked in order. There are 4 factors that Loot Council uses to determine them. Gilly, what are those 4 factors that you should know by heart by now?
The number one is where does the piece do the most good for the raid team? Number two, does this person give pause for concern? Number three, what level of upgrade is the item for the individual in question? And then number four, the least weighted option, guild participation. Not raid team participation, but guild participation. Oh, and
Look at that.
Kiko, the joke behind that is it's because like this has been like drilled into my head.
Yep. So Cass just posted the picture. Mumbo got it, and he passes his quiz. I'm not kidding. Those 4 factors are talked about at every Loot Council meeting. They are talked about just as an added bonus. One thing you guys may not know is the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Every single professor, assistant raid lead, and raid lead, and all preceptors are required to participate in an all hands meeting. So from 7:45 to 8:45 on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month, they're all at a meeting where we talk about Loot Council and raid administration. So the third Wednesday, when you're all here, is their second of a 3-week stretch of meetings that they are running on Wednesday. And so that's why they all know how to recite that list. Raph talked about it a little bit earlier. But it is not a talking point. It is not just there so that we can point at it. We practice what we preach and we use it, and it is weighted in that priority. So keep that in mind. We had a couple other questions come in, so I want to mention Layston asked about, I think it was Layston asked about changing BIS lists. The answer is yes, you can change your BIS list. We will review what your change is, and so in certain instances we may deny that change. One of the things I could think of just offhand is like if you're a rogue that's gotten like purds and now you want to go swords, probably SOL on that. But barring kind of a major change like that, keep in mind that you sorry, I got in the habit of reading questions in chat as they came in, um, and then I just lost my train of thought. Absolutely lost it. Oh, the BIS is sorry, changes in BIS list. So just keep in mind that you will still review that. But if you do want to change your list, you want to send. There's a 2-step process, so it's really important. Pay attention if you're thinking about changing your list. The first step is get the new list set from 60 upgrades and the export file, and send that export file to your raid leader or an assistant raid leader if one's been designated to you. If that is the case, you also need to send the list, the ordered list of how you want those pieces arranged. So if you've got 16 slots, 16 pieces, you need to say which pieces should be in order on the wish list. Because keep in mind, the wish list is ranked. Which piece I want the most to which piece I want the least. So you'll need to include that order, as well as if there are any notes on the list. So if there's a piece that you want because you currently have, a good example is, I want the 5-set bonus off of this set. I'm currently at 3 pieces. So I put, X piece and Y piece of tier gear at the first and second on my list, and you put in a notation that says, looking for 5 set, currently have 3, this would give me 4 and 5. Or to anything to that extent, you can make the notes what you want, but they're very helpful when notes are on wish lists. I will tell you that, as a loot council member and overseeing all of the loot councils generally. So utilize those, but those are the two things that need to be put in if you're looking to change your wish list. And so let me just look back. I know we had a couple other questions come in. Um, Source asks if Big Ass can fit 6 full raid teams. The answer is yes, of course. We haven't actually started purging inactives or lower levels out of the main guild, and we're going to hold off on that as long as we can. But we definitely will have the capacity, so that's not a concern. Um, Kohler asks, and this is a really good question, how is guild activity determined? Maybe an example of ideal guild activity. The reason why it's the least weighted is because it's the least impactful to the actual progression of the raid. So I want to start by saying that is if you have a tie in the first 3 of those, and you really it's a crapshoot as to who's going to get the piece. It comes down to, well, who's more active. So then you ask, okay, well, what is guild activity? It's whatever you make it. So I can tell you, I personally read every single Discord message sent in this server. Regardless of what channel it's sent in, regardless of what time it's sent in, there's not a message that you have sent in one of these teams that I haven't read. I don't respond to them all. I don't react to them all. That would be silly and really kind of weird. But I read every one of them. So, for instance, I mentioned Pagani's very active in Mage Chat and Priest Chat on her characters. So I am mindful of people who participate in their class channels and give advice. We can see people who are online frequently, who are looking for group channel in Discord to find people to do runs, who respond to people who are looking for guild invites in the lower guild, who are looking to put together gear runs to grind pre-raid bis, who are looking for help with attunements. Being a good human being and being helpful are the general guideposts in terms of guild activity. So there's no hard and fast tests. There's nothing you need to be concerned about. But if you're interested in increasing your chances, if it gets down to that, that is the main way of doing it. We'll go back and see if we have any others. I'm just kind of scrolling through. So far, that looks like it for questions. Is anything else before we call this meeting adjourned and move on with our evenings? I'll take any other requests to speak, or you can put something in the chat here in the last minute. Gal, you got something?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, yes, sir.
I want all my haters to know you're welcome. You don't have to go against me in damage for 2 weeks. Yes, booyah for y'all. Y'all suck. I love you, though. All right, that's it.
Well, thanks, Gal. Yeah, I know some of our parsing people in Raid Team 1 are happy with this new news. Yes, Gal was included in the list of people who were hit by Blizzard. It can happen to you folks, so be smart. Don't be trading gold.
Wait. Okay, thank you. I was about to say no. I did not buy gold.
Did not buy gold.
Yeah.
No. Don't worry. I'm not trying to start
Don't put me in
here.
that category with them. So
do not be trading large quantities of gold with friends or anything silly about that. Don't buy gold, obviously. Don't be doing stupid stuff in PvP. I can't tell you enough. If you get banned, be upfront. I think Mumbo put this in. A couple of people, by the way, we're not stupid and we track your attendance. If you tell us that you have an emergency on Friday and you won't be there, and then on Monday, if you're in Raid Team 2, you have to stay late for work, and then the next Friday, your in-laws are in town and your wife just told you couldn't be there, and then in Monday, you rack your brain for some other nonsense excuse and it's an emergency again, um, we're gonna see you've just missed 2 weeks and then all of a sudden you're back and life is good. Okay? Please, please, just be upfront so we can plan ahead. If you can't make it for 2 weeks, your entire raid leadership would be so grateful to just know that the 2 weeks are what they need to plan for adding in people. So if you've lied to your raid leaders about why you're out, please, we will extend a grace period for all of those people who were too embarrassed and may want to revise their reason for being out of the raid for this upcoming week. Please just give us the notice of the 2 weeks. There is no repercussions. If it's a repeat issue, we're going to have talks, but just missing generally is going to be a problem. So don't worry about that. Just be upfront. Okay? All right. Well, I have nothing else. I haven't seen any other substantive
Yeah,
questions that
I,
I need to address.
okay, we're not addressing those right there. Got it.
Which ones those?
The rude people and the thing that should be banned from the guild. I agree. I accept that. Salty Road. That's all I got to say. Okay, sorry. You should probably take away my speaking permission. Salty people.
All right.
Haters.
Well, listen, I don't want to leave on a bad note in this, so I do want to say again, uh, the reason why it is worthwhile in this guild to take on the workload that is necessary to keep this all running is because, by and large, all of you have been tremendous parts of this community. I think Kikyo alluded to it earlier. One of the main things, and one of the reasons why the community rules are what they are, is I think it's a really special opportunity that all of us get to play together with people who we might actually hate in real life. That if we knew and got to know every nitty gritty detail about what their political beliefs were, about what they think and believe, that we may not like them, that we might dismiss them out of hand and miss the relationships and opportunities to actually connect with people on a human level. So I just want to mention that I really do love that this has been a drama-free environment. It is easier to administer that, but I do really enjoy the fact that all of us may not be people we would associate with in real life, but because we are here operating in this community with these guidelines that we've all agreed to, um, we get to actually enjoy the time we spend together. So it's just been really remarkable. I do want to say thank you. Fishin', you've destroyed my outro, but I'll give you the last word. What do you got, bud? I just approved your request to speak, Fish. You gotta come quick.
Oh, I have to accept it. I'm sorry. Hey, I just wanted to. I think Rav did like a meetup with someone once. Is that something that other people might be interested, or you can maybe put out some feelers for that? As
Yeah,
someone who travels a lot, I think it'd be cool to do that one time.
yeah, I think we're gonna look at putting together some, office hours, quote unquote, that people can kind of sign up for and just kind of get an overview, just to check in on things. So yeah, that's definitely in the works. That's not gonna be, a flash in the pan. I know Raph organized those just to get up to speed, in his capacity as an assistant raid leader. But yeah, that's definitely something that we're gonna work on putting in place. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Sorry for killing your intro.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But again, thank you all. Thank you all for being here and participating and sticking around.